Alrighty, so we're going to continue with our reviews of the union repair items that were sent in. I'm going to go ahead and pull up a page for you all to see on these items on the website, so if you want to buy them, you'll know what you're looking for. I also will probably start adding these items into the description, so if you all want to go find them, you can. Let's see. All right. See if this one's, I don't know if that's the same one or not. Anyway, so the first thing that we're going to review is the, I don't know if the pronunciation is correct, but the Kaisi, I guess Kaisi, I'm not sure. I'm sure you all have seen them. They're the battery charging boards, tester boards, whatever you want to call them. I use one pretty much daily. This is mine here. It's a little worse for wear. It's got some, I've wiped some solvent across the LED there, so it's kind of discolored it and wiped away some of the black there. But we use this one pretty much daily. Not necessarily for battery charging. It does do that great. This one is the older version, so it doesn't have all the battery connections. This one, however, is the newer version. This one now has hookups for Samsung, notes, looks like a P7 Samsung connector, looks like maybe a, I don't know what these are, different connectors. Some of them are for Note, all kinds of boards, but it also has the iPhone 7, 7 Plus connector down here, which is also the 5SE connector. You've got the iPhone 5, 5C, the 6, 6S, 4. Also has an activation button for voltages on batteries when they're slightly lower than what they should be to activate. But the main purpose I use mine for, other than battery charging, we use ours as an amp meter style. So the two at the top here, you have a voltage reading and an amperage reading. So I'm going to hook that up to the power supply so you all can see the output that it gives me. So I've got this connected now to my DC power supply, which is here. So when the DC power supply is hooked up, we've got a amperage reading on this side, which is reading 750 milliamps, and we've got a voltage reading. This is the voltage that the phone is actually being passed. If we disconnect it here, you can see it goes back up to the 5 volts. When we plug it back in, the board has a little bit of voltage drop across it, but it does charge perfectly fine. We can use this to kind of tell what TriStar is doing on phones, because you can look at the amperage draw across those. It's a very helpful tool. Like I said, I use this literally daily, and I've not had too many problems out of it. It does have potentiometers on the board to kind of adjust the amperage and voltage settings to better match what your DC power supply is outputting. But it's been a very good unit for me. I haven't had too many problems, and as you can see, we've got our phone connected here. If I disconnect it and reconnect it here, we are charging. It will charge up to 1 amp, it seems, on most devices. If you want a full 2 amp charging option for it, it doesn't do that, but it will do a full 1 amp charging. These do come with some external charging cables too for iPads. So this is for iPad Air 2, iPad Air or iPad 3 and 4. We also have one for iPad minis, and that way you can charge the batteries for those. iPads do tend to be a little more useful because charging the battery on an iPad is kind of sketchy. Usually it requires soldering some wires or something to the battery itself, and that takes a little bit of the guessing out because it's a direct plug-in. The next thing I want to talk about is the FindFix PCB holders dedicated for iPhones. So I've got a selection here of the ones that I have. We have the iPhone 6, iPhone 6 Plus, and the iPhone 7. I don't know that they offer an iPhone 7 Plus yet or not, but I use these quite a bit. So whenever you have a PCB, so for the iPhone 6, if I wanted to lay it this direction, you sit it in the holder. It's got pre-cutouts for everything. You slide your little screw down types here. If they're too tight, you can tighten them. If they're too loose, you can tighten them down to add some more tension to it. Once this is in there, the board isn't going to fall out. You can work on them. They're fairly stable. There's very little wiggle room with them. If you want to flip it over to the other side, take it out, flip it to the opposite side. Again, the pre-cutouts are already set up. Slide your hold down pieces back over the PCB, and again, you now have your board mounted. And like I said, there's no wiggle room. This is pretty well held in there. The board can't fall out, and these have a nice weighted metal bottom to them. So when you sit this down, you can hear it's got a good amount of weight to it. So this holds both 6, which this is an iPhone 6, and this is an iPhone 6s. So if we put the 6s board in here, you can see the cutouts are universal for both. So the 6s fits in perfectly on this too, with no wiggle room, just like the 6. But both of those are very good holders. The 6 Plus is the same way with the 6S Plus. It fits exactly the same. Now the iPhone 7 board does not do the iPhone 7 Plus. It says iPad here. I'm not sure if they mean iPad for maybe holding some of these chips for maybe the iPad Pro. It definitely doesn't hold an iPad board in this at all, unless it holds it like this way. I could see that maybe holding the board across it here. That would be the only useful situation I could see out of it. Actually, it looks like it may hold it that direction. I'm not sure which iPad it holds. It may not be specific. It looks like, though, you have to open up all the way across, and it sits lengthwise across it. I don't know that I would use that much, honestly. I prefer the universal holder for holding iPad boards. It's a lot more useful in that sense. But I highly recommend these. I was a little leery of these at first. I felt like it was kind of wasted money, but I have to say they hold up really well to heat. They don't really melt. I believe it's just a fiberglass reinforced plastic of some sort. Holds up to heat really well. The silk screening does obviously wipe off here. My acetone has eaten it off over time, but it does a very good job of holding boards. Before we go, there is one thing that we did not get in our package from Union Repair, but I do believe that they sell them. If they don't, I would recommend that they do get them. But one of our viewers had requested to see these. If I can find it. This one's for the iPhone 7 and Samsung, and they also make one for the iPhone 6 and 6S. But these are test cables. They use them for hooking up to your PCB directly. You have your inputs that come in here from your DC power supply, and then you have outputs of different leads. So this one has alligator clips on it, has a USB female port, has a micro USB male port, and then it has iPhone 7, 7 Plus, 6S, 6S Plus, and Samsung connectors on here. So what we do is I normally set my DC power supply to maximum voltage for the battery, which would be 4.2 volts. And you'll hook it up to your DC power supply. When you do, it'll have a red light on it. So there's our red light. And to use this, all you have to do is take your PCB. You want to find the correct one that fits it. This one doesn't fit because the battery connector is missing. Let me grab that one that actually has a battery connector. We'll look on their website and see if they have these. I would be shocked if they didn't, but if they don't, it'll be a suggestion I input for them to pick up. So it connects directly to the PCB through the connector, as you can see there. It's just like when you plug in your battery. So right now the battery is feeding, or my DC power supply is feeding 4.2 volts through the adapter here, through this wire into the board. So it's just like if you had a fully charged battery hooked up. You can test the board, you can watch the amperage draw on the DC power supply. You'll start noticing as you work with these that there's certain amperage draws that they'll have, and it's a very, very useful tool for diagnosing board issues without even, you don't even have to look at the board. You can stare directly at the power supply, and there's certain issues that will be dead giveaways before you even do anything else. So let's go to their website and see. I'll show you first the battery tester charger piece that they have. I don't know that they have the newest one up yet or not, but we'll see. So let me switch you over there. Okay, so this is the battery tester. This one doesn't show the current one on there with the iPhone 7. This one's still the old one like I have. But as you can see, with the iPad battery charging cable, it's only $15. Very cheap. Works very well as an amp meter also. Yeah, 5 volts, you're not going to hurt anything. Chat was asking if a 5 volt input through those testers would do anything. It won't hurt anything. But I do recommend to drop it down to 4.2 volts. Alright, so that's the battery tester. Let's go up here and look for the board holders. So we'll type in FindFix, and there you can see those are the board holders. This is the 5 series. I don't have that one. This is the 6 and 6 Plus. This is the 6, 6S. This is the 7, and this is the 7 Plus. So I'll probably end up getting the 7 Plus for myself. There's their universal holder there. But as you can see, 20 bucks. I mean, for a holder that's made specifically for it, it's pretty good. And then the last thing will be the test leads. Let's see if they have them. Usually test cable will bring it up. That might bring up LCD test cables. Nope, there they go. They have them. So let's see if this one does all of them or if this is just for the 6 series. This may be just for the 6 series. Yeah, so that does only up to the 6S. $10. Again, very cheap. It says it does through 7 Plus, so this one may have all of them on one instead of having 2 cables. The only drawback to those cables, they do wear out. The plastic connector does wear out on them where you plug into the actual battery. The good thing is if you have any dead batteries, you can desolder the plastic from the battery and swap it over, and it'll be like they're brand new. Again, this shows you the voltage rating. They're rated up to 1.5 amps. It'll work more than that. It'll do 2 amps perfectly fine, but I wouldn't go too much higher than that. We put quite a few amps through them. They hold up just fine for testing shorts, but it says 1.5. I put 4 amps through it on a short, which is only drawing about 4 watts at that point. So you can take that as you need. If it burns up the cable, you kind of know what happened, but I haven't had any problems with it. But anyway, that'll end this stream. Kind of a short thing. Yeah, DHL shipping is about $20, so I recommend if you're going to buy some things, make sure you're buying a few items at the same time. It cuts your shipping costs down as far as per item. So instead of paying $40 for one board holder, if you buy 3, you're only paying about $30 per board holder with shipping. Yeah, big orders are the best way to go on that. But that pretty much covers those items. We have a few more things that they've sent in. Most of the things left are going to be for iPhone repair, specifically for opening and holding the phone open. And we have some workstation mats that they've sent in. We'll review those next. And then the last one's going to be over stencils. They sent in several stencils, both the square punched and the 3D stencils. There's several different types. And is he dicking with the keyboard? No, they have that built in where it automatically types in stuff into the search. We're going to go over the stencils, and the last thing I think we'll cover is the underfill removal tools and IC removal tools. Those are extremely helpful, and I think that you all will get a lot of information out of those streams as far as the reviews go. I thought these were kind of gimmicky at first, but honestly, like the cleaning ability of this versus trying to use tweezers or a razor blade, far easier with these items. So thank you all again for watching these, and I'll definitely have more review videos, hopefully tomorrow or sometime later this week. But thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you all later.